it's a goal that doesn't have numbers involved, then to me it's not measurable. So I wouldn't say that that's a goal. That's just something that you desire. I talk about health, wealth, love, and happiness in a structured setting. Week by week. First week is health, second week wealth, and so on and so on. So, yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell as far as the podcast goes.
Now, what got you started in on that mission, and where the 4 pillars come from? Because I kind of like the way you have that structured.
Yeah, so pretty much I was listening to Ty Lopez one day, and he had mentioned something about the 4 pillars of the good life. And I haven't seen anybody kind of caveat off of it or bring any more information to it. So I just decided to take it upon myself to elaborate on it more as time goes on. So pretty much what I try and do is have people engage in each topic for a full week so they get some practice with what I'm kind of preaching. And I do it myself. And then at the end of the month, I do a wrap up on Friday. So my shows are every Sunday, and then the wrap ups every Friday on the fourth Friday of every month.
So then, are you doing like the same cycle then, month over month? You're just kind of starting over and then walking people back through the same stages?
No, not through the
No?
same.
Okay.
It's new principles on each topic every month.
Okay. Okay, so you stay with the same topics, so the first week of the month will be the same topic, but then you'll have new principles to apply that topic.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't had time to really catch up on anybody's content who signed up there towards the end, so just trying to get caught up on who's who and what they got going on.
Yeah.
So how long have you been working on that?
Like I said, a little bit over 6 months now.
6 months?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm estimating. I want to say it's longer, but I took a long break from it. I actually moved halfway across the country from Texas to Washington, D.C. So, in the midst of getting everything ready for that move is when I, kind of stopped for a couple of weeks at a time.
Now, what prompted that big move? That's a big move.
Yeah, so I'm active duty military right now. I'm in the Air Force.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what prompted that move.
All your military buddies know about your podcast and everything, or?
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah, some of them.
What do they think about the idea?
I mean, they like it. I don't get a lot of feedback from them. Really, I don't get a lot of feedback in general. I do, but then again, it's not actual constructive criticism. It's more of a I like what you're doing, which is good feedback, but I don't really get the feedback like I think you should talk about this, or how about what do you think about this situation. But I do get feedback, and then people leave me like voice messages on Anchor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody listening, everybody who's going to see this in the future, make sure you check out his stuff, and let's give him some direction on what we think would help us most with what he's got going on. So, have you always kind of been into the self-awareness and trying to kind of build yourself up, or is this a newer thing that you got going on, or personal growth always been a key?
Well, yeah, I've always been into self-awareness and using that to help me grow as fast as possible, because I think that most of the time when people talk to other people, they're not really themselves. And even if you talk to somebody and ask them for help on something, it's like you tell them the story, but nobody honestly knows the whole story besides you. So I think that's why self-awareness is so important, because you're the only one that knows exactly how you feel. You're the only one who knows exactly how you think, and how to navigate through your life. So the best mentor you're gonna ever have is yourself. So yeah, I've always been into self-awareness and paying attention to me instead of kind of having like other people coach me through things. But I definitely take other people's word with heavy considerations.
Now, when did you start realizing that self-awareness and like personal growth was important?
I would say at the age of 15. So I was homeless for a little while at the age of 15, and that just really gave me a lot of time to think and reflect on all the things that I used to complain about versus the situation that I was in.
Now,
So yeah.
well, you just dropped a bomb there. So what was well, damn. So do you want to? Could you elaborate a little bit on like the transition from being homeless and then the realizations you came with, and then kind of like what actions you took to improve your situation, or at least head in the right direction?
um, you kind of broke up, but I mean, I give you answer what I heard you ask me. Pretty much, like I said, it's kind of like a conversation of people who are around me. So when I heard somebody else complaining about, the school food, I wasn't complaining because I was just happy to get food without having to pay for it because I got free lunch. Or people who were so ready to head home after school who didn't get involved in any after school activities. I wanted to stay after school just so I have somewhere to be and things like that caused me to network a lot more. It caused me to talk to people more, come to sports more. But I mean, overall, like I said, it just made me more self-aware of the things that were going on with me and what I was complaining about, and things I took for granted, and how I could, look at things differently and be grateful for what I do have instead of doing what I had figured out that was normal for people to do, which is just constantly complain. I think that people in America just complain about so much. It's stuff that I hate to this day, but I still have to say, okay, I know that I'm better off than where I was. So, yeah.
Well, how much around the work that you do and the things you talk about is gratitude centered? Because I think gratitude is probably one of the most underutilized and underappreciated, which is kind of ironic to even say,
Right.
emotions and feelings when it comes to a lot of situations in life.
Yeah, definitely. I think most people want more like an instant gratification for what they want, and they don't take, they take for granted for what they have, and they always want something different. And I think like today, people when they get what they want, they find something else to want, and that allows them to, you know, be in that mindset to complain because it's like, oh, I never get what I want. But it's like when you got what you wanted, the only thing that changed was that you said you wanted something more, or you wanted something different, or now you want, you know, the same thing but more of it. So I just think that the instant gratification stage that people have in their mind and the role it plays with them on a day-to-day life keeps them miserable because it's like if you're gonna constantly want different things, as soon as you get them, like you didn't take any time to celebrate. You didn't take any time to say thank you. You didn't take any time to kind of bask in the ambiance and say, okay, I'm grateful for what I just got that I wanted. Or, some people accomplish goals, but they immediately switch it and they say, okay, well, I want this now. Which that could be something that's called drive, but it becomes unhealthy when you're repetitively doing that to yourself, when you're beating yourself up instead of celebrating your accomplishments. So that's how I look at it as far as, like you were saying, the gratification thing. People take a lot of stuff for granted.
Now, do you think that's a product of people not being good at gratitude, or a product of people not being good at setting actual goals that would make them happy, and they're just kind of setting goals based on what they see around them?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that people will usually, and this is something that was on a TED talk that Ty Lopez did, and it was like he explained the 33% rule. And usually people have, 1/3 of their friends who are doing worse than them, 1/3 are around the same, you know, as what they're doing as far as career wise. And then the other third is people who are um, doing better than them. So usually what happens is they focus on that 1/3 of people who are doing better than them, and they aspire to have what they have, instead of looking at it the way you're supposed to look at it is say, okay, well, I'm glad that I'm not in this third quadrant as far as career goes, but I'll help them because they're a friend, and that helps you grow, personally, because it feels good to help people, and then the people who you can relate to help you, kind of figure out more of who you are, and then also you have that last third, that's people who you do appreciate, what they have and the life they have and things that they built, but it's not something for you to compare your life on and be miserable about it or be upset that you don't have what they have. It's just something to, get mentoring on and realize it's a work in progress.
What's your sticking with the gratitude topic and kind of like goal setting and stuff? Do you have a process of analyzing whether or not something's a value added goal to work towards?
A value added goal.
Because like some people would be like, oh well, I want to get this car or that watch, but like if you're someone who's pretty self aware and been working on yourself for a while, that's not actually going to bring you happiness.
Right.
So like, is there a way to fact check your goal to make sure it's going to give you what you want, or
Yeah.
anything that you've seen work?
Yeah. I think you have to take those things for base value. That's what I believe in. It's like if you want a Maserati, but it's gonna cause you to be broke, you have to look at, okay, well, why do I want a Maserati? And if it's for some reason, like, oh, I just want to have a luxury car, that's not a good enough reason. um, or if you want a big house that you can't afford and it's gonna make you more miserable, like when you do the math, you'll know. You'll like those are numbers. But as far as like a goal, I'm trying to think of something that's not doesn't have numbers involved. But if it's a goal that doesn't have numbers involved, then to me it's not measurable. So I wouldn't say that that's a goal. That's just something that you desire. So as far as value added, it's like you have to look at, why do you want a car? It's to get from point A to point B. And now you have to look at, okay, is this a reliable car? If something happens to it, then am I going to be able to afford to fix it? Is it under warranty? Those are all the things that you need to look at when you're looking at goals as far as value added. Like if you instantly think you're going to become a vegan, like just because you watch the documentary, it's not going to be that easy. And then at the same time, how much value does that add to your life? Because you have to look at it and say, okay, well, if I do this right now, how much food do I have in my fridge? Is my fridge completely empty and it's easy for me to, go to the grocery store and buy, start all the way over? Or is it something where it's like you have to go throw hundreds of dollars of food away? Because that's not value added. Like, that's you throwing things away. So now you
No.
got to throw all this food away and go spend more money to go get, other food. So to me, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think that goals should just be attained through consistent discipline. I never really look at a goal as putting specific numbers on it, or I know people say make smart goals and make sure that it's measurable as far as time, but I don't, me personally, when I set a goal, I don't ever try and put a number on it. Like, for instance, if I say I'm going to lose weight, I don't. I might step on the scale, but it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm going to do, like I used to box, so if I have to do a weigh in, then I would incorporate numbers. But if it's just for my overall health and I just want to, lose weight, I'm not going to step on the scale and give myself a number to get down to, because I might, but I would do it like after maybe 4 or 5 months of consistent discipline with action. Because if I step on the goal every single day or on
I
the
was like,
scale every single day, then that just scale every single day. That's just going to remind me that I'm not where I'm at yet. I'm not where I want to be at yet. So I think that's what people do to themselves is, even if you're trying to save up a certain amount of money, it's like create a plan to do that, but don't look at your savings account. You know what I mean? Because it's temptation there. It's temptation for you to fall off. If you weigh 200 pounds, but you're trying to get that down to 70, and for a whole week you lose no weight and you're stepping on the scale every single day, then there's more temptation to give up than there is to persevere through that. So the way I set goals is a little bit different, as to just, I have to be consistent and disciplined enough to keep doing the things over and over and over. And I'm eventually going to get my goal regardless, because I'm not going to stop. But I don't set myself up to look at daily failure. And that's why I think a lot of people do. They set themselves up to look at daily or weekly failure. And if it's something that you're going to do, like I said, like lose weight or save, like let's say you want to save $12,000 in a year, that's $1,000 a month. If you know you're setting that money aside, why should you look at your bank account? Those types of things.
So then, how do you? Because I know exactly what you're feeling because or talking about, because I've tortured myself looking at things on a daily micro and then trying to figure out why the results aren't moving. How do you then course correct to make sure that you're heading in the right direction, or that you need to kind of re-navigate a little bit if you're not using all those micro numbers and measurements to see where you're going?
Right.
Like, is there a way to kind of course correct and pay attention to when you need to, or how do you think about that?
I think that comes with just time. With time, like the way that you perceive time, because the way that you perceive time is going to dictate whether something's worth doing to you. So, like for instance, if you have a goal that's going to require you to be disciplined for 5 years, then focus on the date that's 5 years from now. Don't focus on like next week or the week after or anything like that. I mean, yeah, you do have to, spot check and say, okay, I got to reel it back in if you're starting to go off track. But when you reel it back in, that's when I okay, I'm still on this 5 year path, and if I stray off now, my goal to turn into a 6 year goal instead of a 5 year goal, and I don't want to waste any time. So, that's the way that I spot check, is because I'm very serious about time. So, anything that causes me to waste time, I don't want to do it. And when I backtrack on things, that causes me to waste time. So, if you don't want to backtrack on anything, you got to find out what motivates you. Like time motivates me, not wasting time motivates me. You got to find out what motivates you, and you have to use that to your advantage and look at the way that you perceive time over a long period of time instead of having the short period type things. Like for instance, people who just look forward to Friday, that's such a small thing when you know what you have to do day by day by day. You know that you're going to go to work. If you have a Monday through Friday job, you know the hours you're going to work. It's kind of like, why are you focused on Friday when it's Saturday? I know some people who are just like, dang, man, on Sunday, they're just like, dang, I got to go back in. It's going to be Monday. I can't wait for the weekend already. It's like, you're still in the weekend right now. Why are you even worried about it? So I think it's just long-term time perspective. The way that you perceive time with your goal is going to dictate how important it is for you to achieve that goal. Because a lot of people are going to give up within the first week if they have a 5 year goal, if they're not serious about it. So it's like, that's how you find out if somebody's serious. If you tell them it's going to take us 5 years to get here, if they start to give you any kind of pushback on whatever goal it is that has been established in a week or two, then that week or two is not going to even compare to 5 years. So you know that they're not serious. And that's what you have to be self-aware of too, is like, when those things happen, when you start to stray off, you have to say, okay, nope, I'm still on this 5 year warpath, or you know what, this wasn't that serious to me in the first place. So I don't know why I set, a 5 year goal or even a year. If you can't do something consistently for, I think, at least 3 months, then it's not important. People make time for things that are important to them. And if it's important to you, then you do it regardless.
What are you working towards? What's your minimum 5 year goal right now, or the end of an old 5 year goal?
My 5 year goal is to get my bachelor's in either economics or human resources, or possibly both in the next 5 years. I know I have my degree in the next two. Um, So yeah, and then to be able to make 6-figure income without having to go to work. That way, I can focus more of my energy on things like this, as far as helping people. And the sad thing about that is you can have a phenomenal plan to do something to help people, but nobody really wants to listen unless they see you at some wild point in life or doing really, like, you have to be doing really, really good for yourself for people to listen to you nowadays. You know, so that's the sad reality of it is you could be a really, really smart person, but if you don't get acknowledged by another, like, let's say if you don't get acknowledged by CNN for your IQ, then nobody's gonna care. Nobody. I mean, people could just think that you're a know-it-all. You know what I mean? So I think that has a lot to do with perception too, is the way that people take you for what you have or who acknowledges you. And that's the sad part. But I mean, it is what it is. That's taking stuff for base value. That's what I mean when it is what it is. That's just how it is sometimes.
No, I can definitely second that. Unfortunately, that 20 minutes went by super quick. So we'll have to wrap it up here. Where can everybody find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Richardson Quartez. My name spelled with a Q. It's Quartez. And you can listen to my podcast now anywhere you can listen to podcasts. So Spotify has Anchor is the app that I use. So if you want to listen to the music that I attach to some episodes, then you can go on Anchor. And I have a Facebook group called the 4-Pillar Effect. If you want to get added on there, then just reach out to one of the admins and they can add you.
Perfect, man. Well, I thank you for coming on here on such short notice and being flexible.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me.